Hello, students. Welcome to another beautiful moment, beautiful time in class with you. Today we'll be looking at electoral malpractice. Last week we were able to discuss electoral malpractice, but today we'll be strictly looking at the causes and the consequences of electoral malpractice. All right, our learning objective. First of all, we are to identify the causes of electoral malpractice, also explain the consequences of electoral fraud, and as well suggest solutions to electoral malpractice. Now, in the previous class, we were able to define electoral malpractice, but once again, to look at a definition of it, we say electoral malpractice refers to the illegal interference in elections. It undermines democracy and affects leadership legitimacy. As earlier discussed, electoral malpractice is illegal and it interferes in elections and undermines democracy. Now, one of the reasons why electoral malpractice is common, especially in the continent Africa, is crave for power and poverty. All right, poverty has been an issue, basically an African issue. All right, people don't really have money to fend for themselves, and politicians use this as a tool in order to seek to entice the citizen to vote for them, even though they know they don't have any good agenda for such people. And support some politicians manipulate elections just to have power. As you all know, power corrupts and corrupts absolutely. Now, when someone has too much powers, they feel like they are on top of the world. So, electoral malpractice is being caused by crave of power by the politicians and also poverty that is underlying in the lives of the citizens. Yeah, another cause of electoral malpractice is lack of political education and corruption. All right, voters are deceived due to ignorance of their rights. Most voters don't know their rights that they have to vote. All right, they have to vote, and nobody's to entice them with money. Most people don't know their rights as regards voting. So politicians use this as a tool to to buy people's vote. Also, some officials accept bribes to manipulate election results. Some INEC officials, yeah, INEC officials do take bribes to might help the such political candidates win such elections. Another cause to electoral malpractice is inadequate planning and late arrival of materials. All right, most of the time there's poor preparation as regards election, and this creates a loophole for fraud. Also, delayed voting materials makes manipulation easier. Most times you hear during election days, materials don't arrive early. At times they will say something is wrong with the machine for registration and all of that. These are tools for manipulation by our leaders. Another cause of electoral malpractice is the influence of the party in power. Now, the ruling party have a lot of influence in electoral malpractice. Some ruling parties may influence the Electoral Commission, the INEC, since they are the ones in charge of the government at that time. They can bribe the INEC and influence them to elect such party again. And also, others may from above may alter election results unfairly. Maybe order from the president or order from the highest authority for them to conduct elections in a certain way, just to favor the ruling party. All right. Another cause of electoral malpractice is lack of stiff punishment for offenders. Now, some of these people that causes electoral malpractice, most of them there is no stiff punishment. Most of them are being released on bail. Most time, if you have money, you can bail yourself out. Or the politicians that sent them to cause chaos in the polling unit can actually bail them out. All right. So, lack of weak penalties encourage a repeat of offenses. All right. Without deterrent, malpractice continues unchecked. Without strict measures, malpractice will continue. All right. One of the consequences. Now, we've looked at the causes. Now we're looking at the consequences. Now, election brings about bad leadership and riots. All right. When there is electoral malpractice, people will want to cause chaos. People will enter people's house, drag people out. There'll be a lot of fights, thugs everywhere. There will be the burning of government facilities. Electoral fraud leads to corrupt and ineffective leaders. All right. Bad leadership will take place as a result of electoral malpractice. All right, another consequence is bad image of voter apathy. Bad image of voter apathy. Now, election encourages citizens not to want to participate anymore in politics. So, election gives the country a bad image. Country will have an image that that country that society, there are always manipulations in their election. Also, it discourages citizens from voting when there are manipulated results every 4 years, year in, year out. They manipulate results to put people that are not the people's choice. This will result in political apathy, and citizens will not want to participate in politics anymore. And it gives the country a international reputation, a bad international reputation. Another consequence of electoral malpractice is that it leads to loss of life and military intervention. All right. Not only does it damage a country's reputation, it leads to loss of life, and military people ends up intervening in politics. Okay, military people will intervene and take over governance, and such democratic society will become a military one at the end of the day. Now, how can we reduce or curb electoral malpractice? One, independent election by monitoring observers. Okay, independent election monitoring by observers. Now, there should be independent monitoring of election by observers. The people who observe election, every electoral process always have people who observe. There are people called observers that sit and look how election is being conducted. Now, these people, they should be independent. All right. Also, severe penalties for fraud, for election fraud perpetrators. Now, those people that causes electoral malpractice, they should be severely punished. They should give severe punishment according to the law. That way, it will deprive or discourage people who further want to carry out such vices in the future. In conclusion, electoral malpractice threatens democracy and development. Citizens and authority must work to ensure free and fair elections. Citizens must work because it's a threat to development and a threat to democracy. All right, assignment for today. Now you have to go back, watch the video again, and do the following announcement and assignment rather. Now, number one, you have to explain three causes of electoral malpractice. Two, discuss two major consequences of electoral fraud. And three, suggest ways to prevent electoral malpractice. All right, it's been a wonderful and amazing time in class today. I hope you learned something and you've taken note of all that has been taught so far today. If you have any question, please don't forget to comment in the comment section below. Goodbye, and I will see you in another class. Bye.